Today, my goal is to help you feel prepared for your quiz on Monday. It's over just 3 sections, 9.1 through 9.3. There are some vocab words and some formulas that you're going to need to know. So does anyone remember what this is? I want you to take your red pen. We're going to fill this in with our red pen. The distance from the center to any point on a circle. Taylor, what is it? The radius. All right, look carefully for how it's spelled. Make sure you're spelling it correctly. The next vocab word is the distance across a circle through the center. What is that, Harmony?
Diameter.
The diameter. And the next one says it's the distance around the circle. It's not perimeter. What is it called, class?
Circumference.
Circumference. All right, now with circumference, there are 2 formulas that you can use. This is the only one we've talked about that there's 2 options, okay? Does anyone remember what one of the options is? Hunter?
C equals pi times D.
Now there's another one using the radius. Does anyone remember what that one would be? Alexis?
C equals 2 pi r.
Very good, okay? And the way that you can help yourself remember that is 2 r's is the same as 1 d, okay? Those are some formulas you're going to want to have memorized, and you want to know what those vocab words are. There's another thing that we've got to know, pi. There's 2 different things that pi could be. What would it be if it was a fraction?
22 over 7.
22 over 7. Or what would the decimal be?
3.14.
3.14. That's the one that probably we use the most. Now there's a few formulas. You're going to want to know these also. Later on today during our class hour, we're actually going to make some flashcards that can help you to review and study for these. Does anyone remember what the area of a circle is?
Yeah. Wait, it's A equals, okay, pi r over 2.
Not pi r over 2, but pi r squared. Okay? Now, what do we know about a circle versus a semicircle?
It's half.
A semicircle is half. So what do I need to do to this formula? Just divide it by 2. We're going to cut it in half. So it's still pi r squared, that's the area of a circle, divided by 2, because I only need to know half of the area because it's half of a circle. Area of a triangle, A equals 1/2 times base times height. Area of a square, anyone remember that one?
S squared.
S squared. And the last one, the area of a rectangle is?
A equals
Length times width. Very good. So remember, please study this, review them, go over this so that you know these really well for your quiz on Monday. All right, so here you can see it has given us the radius. If I know the radius, can I find the diameter? Yeah, what's the diameter? 10. How'd you figure that out?
Because it's just plus the number, like 2 times the number.
All you have to do is double it, okay? So if this right here is halfway, then instead the diameter would just be continuing. 5 plus 5 is 10, or 5 times 2 is 10. All right, next one, it gives me the radius, or it gives me the diameter. So guys, what would the radius be?
12 inches.
How'd you figure that out?
You divide it by 2.
Correct. All you have to do is cut it in half or divide it by 2. Next one says, find the circumference. Remind me again, guys, what does circumference mean? The distance around the circle, and then we're going to round to the nearest hole. So looking at this right here, did it give me the radius or did it give me the diameter?
Radius.
The radius. So let's go ahead and use our formula for circumference that has a radius in it. What would that be? C equals 2 pi r. Now, is this number right here divisible by 7? Yeah, a 7 can easily go into that. So when we have something like that, what I would like you to do is just go ahead and use 22 over 7. So we're going to do 2 times, instead of pi right here, we're going to go ahead and put in 22 over 7. And then, guys, what is my radius?
21.
That's the radius. So then I'm going to multiply that times the 21. And technically that would be over 1. Is there anything you see there that I can cross reduce?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 7 and the 21. What does the 7 become?
1.
A 1. How about the 21? 3. Now all you're going to do is just multiply across the numerators. What is 2 times 22 times 3?
132.
132. What are my units?
M.
Millimeters. Okay, now you could have done that and used 3.14. That would be fine with me. You would get a slightly different answer, and then you would have just had to round to the nearest whole number. Okay, let's go to the next one, number 4. Does it give me the radius or the diameter? Gives me the diameter. So once again, looking at my instructions, we're finding the circumference. What is the formula for circumference using diameter?
C equals pi.
C equals pi times diameter. All right. Could I use 22 over 7? Yes, if you see once again, this is still divisible by 7. So I do not care right now which way you do it, but it's going to be a pretty fast option if we just do 22 over 7 and multiply it times 7. Anything to cross reduce?
Yes.
They become what? 1. So what's my answer?
22.
Very good, okay? So then I didn't even have to use a calculator whatsoever. If you want to ever double check it with 3.14, you can. It will come out very close. You just have to round it up to 22 feet. And that's how you find circumference, or the distance around a circle. Number 5 is asking us to find the perimeter of the semicircle. Remember again, what does perimeter mean, class? The distance around an object. What is the distance around a circle or a semicircle called? Circumference. So we're going to be using the formula for circumference to figure out what we need to know for the semicircle. Let's start off with, what does it give me? Radius or diameter? Radius. Everyone just go ahead. I would like you to make a habit of just going ahead and telling me whether it's the radius or the diameter. And if that's the radius, what would my diameter be? 8 centimeters. Okay, so right now, we want to figure out this distance. That's the circumference because it's the distance around the circle. Does this give me radius or diameter right there? Radius. That's the radius. So let's use our circumference formula with a radius. What would that be? C equals 2 times pi times r. And then, Sierra, why did we divide it by 2? It's a semicircle, okay? Is there anything I can already cross-reduce? Yes. Cancel the 2's out. They both become a 1. Now I'm left with plain old C equals pi times r. What should I use for pi?
3.14.
All right, let's do 3.14 times, what's my radius? 4. What'd you get?
12.56 centimeters.
All right, 12.56 centimeters. And that means this right here is 12.56 centimeters. Is that the full perimeter of the semicircle? No. Listen, I've still got to do this big old part right here. All right, so what I want you to do, this is the first part. We're just going to go ahead and draw a little cloud around it, helping us to know that's the first step. The problem on the quiz is a lot of people think they're done at that point. Remember, perimeter is going to ask you to find not only the circumference, but also add in the diameter, or this part right here. So we just found out our circumference was 12.56, and how much is my diameter? 8. Remember, because this is 4, and if you double it, that would be 8. This is going to give us the perimeter around the entire semicircle. What is it? 20.56 what? Should I square the units? When do I square the units? Only when it's the area. This has asked us for perimeter, the distance around, so you do not need to square the units. Next one, find the area of the circle. Help me out with this at first, guys. Did it give me the diameter or the radius? Diameter. Okay, so let's just write that down. The diameter is 40 inches. What would the radius be? 20 inches. Remember, it's a good idea just to write this somewhere at the very beginning of your problem in case you get confused later. What, Charbel, would my formula for area of a circle be? All right, very good. It is A equals pi r squared. Do I need to cut this in half? No, it's not a semicircle. This is a complete circle, so I want the area of the whole thing. Let's go ahead and just start plugging some things in. Nikki, what is pi? Very good. Ayano, what is the radius? 20. And what do I have to do to the 20, class?
Square it.
Square it. Okay? Should I multiply these two together first, or should I do my square? Square. Always do the square first. Guys, what's 20 times 20? 400. 400. And then go ahead and multiply that by pi, and what do you get?
1,256 inches.
And remember to square the units because we have the area. Any questions on how we found the area of that circle? All right, I want you and your partner to try the area of a semicircle next. It's very similar to what we just did, but remember you're doing a semicircle, so you got to cut it in half instead of keep it whole. All right, as I just walked around, I saw a lot of people doing a great job. Some people were struggling with the original formula. Guys, what's the formula for finding area of a semicircle? Good job. We just take the regular area of a circle and we're going to cut it in half or divide it by 2. Looking at this right here, guys, what did it give me?
4 inches.
Is that my radius or my diameter?
Radius.
Okay, so the radius is 4, which means the diameter would have been 8. All right. Let's plug some things in. A equals 3.14 times 4 squared divided by 2. Can I cross-reduce this right here?
No.
No, you can never cross-reduce a divide by 2 and a square, okay? And also, before you do anything else, if you remember order of operations, PEMDAS says we have to do the exponents first. What does 4 squared mean?
4 times 4.
4 times 4. That's where I saw a lot of people accidentally made the mistake of saying 4 times 2, so be careful with that. Now, is there anything I can cross-reduce? Yes. This becomes a 1 and an 8. When you multiply this out, what is your final answer? Inches squared. Does anyone have a question? Maybe you and your partner didn't get that? Okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay, final couple problems of today. Find the perimeter and the area of the composite figure. Remember, composite kind of means like it's a complicated figure because there's not just one figure in it, there's 2. So the first thing we're going to do is find the perimeter. Cameron, what does perimeter mean?
Perimeter? I know what it means. Oh,
Ayana, can you help her? The outside distance of a shape, okay? So let's see what we can kind of figure out just by looking at this shape right here. Do you guys happen to know how long this would be?
No. 4 inches. 6 feet.
6 feet. Okay, notice it's right across from that, guys, so it's also going to be 6 feet. How about this one right here? 4 feet. Once again, because it's directly across, you can see it's the same exact length. This is also going to be 4 feet. Next up, what about this right here?
It's probably 3.
We don't know it, okay? I don't think it's going to be 3. You said that, but listen, if you were to take it, you know it's going to be longer than 6. Because if it's curved like that, it's going to be longer than the straight line, okay? So this is what we got to do. For perimeter, you have to take all the sides. So we're going to go ahead and put it up here. P equals, let's start with this side right here. 4 feet plus, then bring this one in down there, 6 feet. Plus, let's do this one over here, another 4 feet. And what about this? Should I take that one?
yes.
Incorrect. That is not the distance on the outside. But that is going to help me with something here in just a minute. Help me as I talk about this right here. What shape do you see this is? A semicircle. Is this 6 right here the diameter or the radius of the semicircle?
Diameter.
It's the diameter. It's the distance all the way across. So I want us to start with this. The diameter equals 6 feet, which means the radius equals 3 feet. Cut it in half. Okay? This, once again, is important information that I want you guys to try to find out at the very beginning each and every time. Okay? So now what I have to do, if I am looking for this distance, that's the last distance around the outside of the figure that I'm trying to find. What is it called when I'm trying to find the perimeter of a circle?
Circumference.
The circumference. And we just said that the circumference that was given to us, we know the diameter. So what's the formula with the circumference and a diameter?
Oh, C equals pi over times D.
Pi d, and it's a semicircle, so I have to divide it by
2.
2. All right, so here we go. 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus, what is pi? 3.14. What's my diameter?
6.
And we're going to divide it by 2 because this is a semicircle. We're going to go ahead and do this information first. Is there anything that can cross-reduce?
Yes.
What is it? And they become? 1 and 3. Now we are still focusing on this right here because that's the kind of work that we need to figure out, okay? So on the left-hand side, we're not going to do any of this yet. Bring down, we're adding the 4 and the 6 and the 4. Plus, let's go ahead and multiply this out. What's 3.14 times 3? 9.42. So what you have just figured out, guys, is that this distance right here, the top of the semicircle, is 9.42 feet. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add up all of our sides together to get the perimeter of this composite figure. What is the answer?
20.42.
All right, and that is how you find the distance around a composite figure. We have one more thing we need to do, and that's find the area. If you remember what it told us before is we have to figure out for the area what shapes are there in the composite figure. What's one of the shapes that you see, guys?
Square.
It's not a square,
Semicircle. A semicircle.
okay? The first thing, or either one, you can do either order, but there is a rectangle there. How can you tell it's a rectangle and not a square? Sierra? The sides are not equal. Look, this one is 4 and this one is 6. If those are not equal sides, then it is not a square. A rectangle has a length and a width. All right, plus, I heard some people telling me what's the other one that we have in there? A semicircle. So now what we have to do, this is why you have to have your formulas memorized. What is the area of a rectangle formula? Length times width. Plus, what is the semicircle formula?
Pi r squared.
Divided by 2. I want you and your partner to try to get the area of this composite figure. All right, let's see what you guys got. For the area, we're going to take the length times the width, so we've got to multiply 6 times 4, plus pi is going to be 3.14. What was my radius? 3 is the radius, and you've got to square that and divide it by 2. How many of you would say you and your partner got this far together? Okay, so let's see right here. I've got some work I can do. What is 6 times 4?
24.
Okay, good job. Now, what is the first thing I should do when dealing with the semicircle? We're going to go ahead and do the exponents, guys. So what's 3 squared? 9. So now we're doing 3.14 times 9 divided by 2. When you do this part right here, what'd you guys get?
14.13.
All right. Now we've got to add them together. What's your final answer?
38.13 feet squared.
How many of you were able to get that? Are there any questions of how to find that? Because this kind of stuff will be on your quiz. It will also be on tonight's homework. All right, guys, so listen, if you understand what we did today, you should be great for your quiz on Monday. But one thing that I want us to kind of work on today, we're going to go ahead and make some flashcards. This is tonight's homework. So there's only 6 problems. And then we're going to go ahead and make some flashcards over these to help us. Please study and review these formulas for your quiz on Monday and your test on Wednesday.
Can I go and grab my book back?